Interface from PAC. It's basically taking all the other steering wheel control interfaces we made and combined them into one. It'll do analog circuits, CAN bus, LAN bus, LIN bus, 5-volt serial, 12-volt serial, and 12-volt analog. So in conjunction with all that, what we've given you is a multitude of programming options. There are 3 ways to program this interface, and I'll start with the first. It's called app mode. So fresh out of the box, you're going to see the dip switches all down. These are vehicle dip switches, these are radio dip switches. When they're all down, it's in app mode. So what we're going to do is plug it into our little provided connector here. So we're going to take that, plug it in. We'll plug it into our Android phone for this device. You get audible confirmation that it's connected. This particular setup here is from a 2012 Toyota Camry. So we'll look that vehicle up. All right, so now we have our car, our wiring options, and our radio. If we hit next, it just programmed it for the Camry. So now if you're happy with these buttons working at face value, you can go install it, and you're done. You don't have to program anything, you don't have to map any buttons. However, if you have a customer that wants custom button functions or short press, long press, which basically that's 2 functions on one button. So press and let go is a short press, press and hold is a long press. So now we have our mapping table. So what we have here is a list of every button that's in the car. So I'll go ahead and make my arrow left button. We'll make that preset down. Arrow right, we'll make preset up. So now at this point I have a couple options. I can go ahead and send it to the interface. So with the audible confirmation, I just programmed it for the Camry with my custom button features. Let's say you're an expediter who does a lot of the same vehicle. You can save the file to your phone, and then you can program multiple devices off of that file. So later on, you open up an interface, plug it in, and you can go here to our load configuration utility, pick the file you saved, and it's going to bring up that same button mapping table just in case you maybe want to tweak it a little bit or make some changes. If not, you're good to go. Send it to the interface. We've included instructions in the app. So if you look here, you get a detailed pinout, module, every wire, and what it connects to. So the black wire on our interface goes to connector 2, pin 7, which is a brown wire. Got your connector reference chart here, and a few more notes on making connections to the radio. You can also share this information via email. So if you want to email it to a coworker who's out in the field, or anybody, your customer, you can always email it or save it for later use. So that's app programming mode. That's the first way. The second way is what we're calling manual configuration mode. So let's say you're installing this and your cable's broke, or you lost it, or you don't have any way to connect to the phone. What we can do is go look up the exact same vehicle, 2012 Toyota Camry with a Pioneer radio. So we're going to hit next. And at this point, the app knows you're not connected to the module, so it automatically brings up the wiring. So it's like, all right, he's not connected, he needs to wire the thing up. So we go ahead, we'll wire it up, we'll hit next. So at this point, it tells you you're still not connected. If you want to proceed manually, hit next. Set the dip switches as shown. So now it gives you a picture of the dip switches on the module. So we'll go ahead and take these and set them for this config. 2, 5, 7, Pioneer. And now it just works again with the buttons at face value. If you would like to remap the buttons, you can still do that with the programming button here. So if we push it, you get audible confirmation programming started. And with every button press, you get a beep confirming that the button was learned and remapped. You can do a short press, or you can do a long press, which allows you to do 2 functions on one button. So that's manual configuration mode with the dip switches. There's a third way of programming it. This is calling just manual mode. So now I can take all these vehicle dip switches, put them up, set this for Pioneer. And basically what we have now is an SWI-RC with an accessory output. So now we can program it the old-fashioned way with the button. Push the button until it beeps. Gives you confirmation that it's learned the ADC value. Skip a function. You can even do long press on manual mode. You've got your tricolor LED here that gives you the status of everything. But we've taken manual mode one step further. For customers who are familiar with our SWIRC, you usually get a sheet of paper that has this big chart with all the button functions on it. We incorporated that into the app as well. So when you connect it to the phone knows that all the dip switches are up and you're in manual mode. So now you're looking at a list of available Pioneer functions. We can initiate programming from here. Volume up, down. As you see, it greens out the ones as you're making progress through the list. Down, source, track up, track down. We'll do band on a long press, phone menu on a long press, answer, and we'll skip the last one. And that's it, programming's finished. So now everything I just showed you can also be done with a thumb drive. So that same file that we saved earlier can be put on a thumb drive and plugged into the interface, and it will auto-configure itself. If you ever have an instance where you need to update the firmware, you can do that through the app as well. There's a firmware tab. Check for update. Firmware's up to date, you're good to go. Let's say you come across a car that we need to discuss with the engineers and he makes a custom program or a custom firmware file. You can put that as well on the USB, plug it in, it'll auto load. If you want to talk directly to tech support, we have a support ticket or a support tab here. You can submit a support ticket directly through our problem tracker, which automatically appends a config file so the engineers know what you were doing. If you don't want to do that, you can hit live support. You can call us, you can text us. And if you're doing it through the PC app, it'll open TeamViewer, which automatically gives the tech support team access to your computer to know what you were doing. And that's the demo of the Control Pro 5.